So far, every beat we've worked with has been what we call a story beat, which is just a regular plot event. But there's a different, more subtle kind of beat called a subtext beat, indicated with the electrical charge icon. This is used for things like character traits or themes that are added to existing events to give them feeling and color. Story beats and subtext beats are both just types of beats, and you can actually switch the type at will. The fundamental difference is that where a story beat is meant to be used a single time and be over and done with, a subtext beat is meant to be used multiple times whenever you want a particular energy to come through. Quick example, here we have a plot where Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson have to break into a safe. Right now, Dr. Watson is opening the safe, and that's about it. In research, I've created a folder for Sherlock's character traits. Here we'll create some subtext beats to describe his mental state. So I'll right-click and select Create Subtext Beat, and write a character trait that he's super impatient with everybody. And let's create another one. This time I'll press Enter or Shift Enter on an existing subtext beat. This trait could be that he walks out on people if they're not interesting enough. And let's fill up a whole bucket of character traits. And now, as I'm writing this snippet, I realize that I have a chance to inject some of these traits. So let's drag the subtext about him being impatient directly from research onto the snippet. And then let's rewrite the snippet so he pushes Dr. Watson out of the way because it's going too slow. The great thing about this is that now personality traits and themes aren't just vague ideas in our minds. They're literally things in Causality. This first of all means that we're tracking them. Any piece of subtext gets a green checkmark if we're using it at least once. And since subtext beats are meant to be used multiple times, we can see where they're used. Select a subtext beat and go to Usages in the inspector. This one's used 5 times. And if you double-click, you jump to each place they're used in the script. You can also step through the usages by pressing Command or Control-W continuously. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which gives me a lot of clarity about how this part of his personality is used. One thing you might have noticed is that subtext beats don't have to be in the whiteboard. We've just been dragging them straight from research onto the script. But we are allowed to put them in the whiteboard if we want. Subtext beats then simply live where we drop them. They're not part of the timeline as such. Their position doesn't say anything about when they happen in the story, and moving them around has no effect. But the reason you can place subtext beats in the whiteboard is that then you can daisy chain them to create character arcs. If you remember the dependencies feature, this is where we create dependencies between beats or groups or blocks, which creates rules that they have to happen in this order. And if we accidentally upset that order by having things happen earlier or later than they're supposed to, Causality gives us a warning. See the dependencies tutorial for a refresher. Well, with subtext beats, this allows us to create groups of character traits, basically phases the character goes through. Here, Sherlock first has his impatient phase, where his manners are particularly bad. Then he has a phase with some change events that remind him that other people are people too. And then he has a compassionate phase where he treats people better. By daisy chaining them, we're saying that his personality has to evolve in this order. And if we later accidentally arrange events so that we're not faithful to the arc, we get an error. It says that the change event should be before the compassionate phase. So let's fix that by moving this change event to earlier. Normally you have to think a bit more about where to put it, but for now the story logic makes sense again. Finally, subtext beats are meant for small things, feelings, behaviors that are added to existing story beats. They're not meant to have their own event. But once in a while, something you thought was just subtext actually needs to have its own standalone event. Maybe I thought that Sherlock would apologize as part of something else, but now I want an event where he just apologizes and that's all that happens. That's as simple as turning that subtext beat into a regular story beat. And then this character trait can own the snippet all by itself.